Hey everybody, it's Eric Balance coming to you with the Resilient Minds podcast, where I feature beautiful entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and experts in their field, where they help us discover their X factor, their experience of life, only to discover how they were able to accomplish and find out their Y factor, their big why, their purpose in life. So join me as we get to discover the beauty of our minds and how can we really continue to go after the biggest and most wildest dreams while we continue to pursue and manifest our greatest intelligence that comes from the heart. Also, if you haven't, go check out the new alignment course that I've created at www.ericbalance.com/alignment, ALIGNMENT. See you on the show. Well, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Resilient Minds podcast. I'm extremely excited because although we've been spending lots of time back and forth trying to get in touch with one another, it's finally happening, and I'm really pumped up because we got Shaman Durek hanging out with us today, spending time. I just want to first and foremost welcome you to the show, bro. It's really nice to be able to connect in person. I know we've spent time, but now it's like, let's really engage and have some fun, bring the energy to life.
Excellent. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, bro. So for those of you that don't really know much about Shaman Durek, I love the energy that's brought to life through this beautiful individual. He's really intentional about his work, really grounded in a philosophy of bringing things to life through his engagement, through his willingness to break the status quo, to create disruption, to challenge. And there's this eminence, there's this great resonance, let's put it, that I really love about this man. And so he's a sixth generation shaman. He's an author of a best-selling book called Spirit Hacking Shamanic Keys to Reclaim Your Personal Power, Transform Yourself, and Light Up the World. And I love this. Is a visionary leader for the now age, for the now, for the present, for the philosophy of magic that's happening in our current life. And it's a really strong focus on the evolution of humanity, which is what a lot of us that, maybe are uncertain about what's happening, or there's a lot of things happening in the world. It's so important for us to bring this essence to life, especially in presence. So he studied extensively different philosophies, religions, rituals, understandings, and really brought it through his own experience to magnify the now era so that all of us can really bring our stories and resonate with him through his journey. So, brother, again, thank you for coming. I'm excited to where are you coming in from, and what's most exciting for you in the now moment?
Where am I coming in from? In what sense? Like, where am I at in the world?
Yes.
I'm in Los Angeles right now because I'm here on business. So I live in Norway most of the time.
Yep. And what's most exciting right now, bro?
What's exciting for me right now is we're going through what is called a transference time. And a transference time is when dense energies begin to rise up, so that way that the higher energies can go even higher. So what's happening is that everything that has been inauthentic or not in the value of us achieving and being able to see ourselves magnified in our essence of being who we've come to be, and like what our desires are, what our passions are, what we choose to truly actualize in this embodiment is now being seen at a much more faster pace. So therefore, the deepest depravities of humanity are coming forth to be recognized. And it's such a beautiful thing because nothing can be hidden anymore. So it's like everything that human beings, like if you hate yourself, it's going to come to the surface and be seen. If you're a person who tells lies, it's going to be seen. Like everything is coming up right now for people to see, not for the purpose of making people bad, which is what people seem to do when these things come up, but more for the purpose of bringing it into a space of love, bringing it into a space of willful intention, which means aligning source mentality, which is the ability to accept, understand, and then create from that space into the world, instead of it being like, I'm a bad person, or I should have done this, or I can't believe I did this, or if people only knew this, and really change that to a different type of alchemy that supports the reason why you had to go down that path, and why those things had to be said, and why those actions were taken for the purpose of humanity. It's not always this black and white, good versus bad. And so for me, seeing this transference and watching people, helping people come out of the struggle of beating up on themselves to coming into a realization of the path that they took, which was necessary because there's a greater wisdom that's coming forth.
So beautifully put and really articulated in a way that allows us to understand that it's so important to really live in these values of integrity from the forefront. That if we don't do these, the work, let's call it, or if we take the introspective path, and we don't step into that level, radical self-honesty, and express ourselves with transparency, it's always going to come to some sort of surface in any area of our life. So I'm curious to know how this had been really important, because you've stepped into this powerful identity from a really young age, where you really knew, with expression, that you were going to step up into the world in a capacity, and you knowing 6 generations of really being in this calling, this vision holding. And I really believe that many of us, we are our own shamans, let's call it like this, if we really take the reality of being so truthful with ourselves. However, I'm curious to know, because a lot of people are probably either listening or uncertain about what it means to be a shaman from your perspective, and how people can also tap into that levels of truth and honesty, so that they can step out into the world without the veil, with the illusion or the ideology that there's a separation between who they are inside and who they are outside.
Well, I never wanted to be a shaman. And it's funny me saying that, because of course everyone believes that we choose our path and so forth. So I'm sure there's a part of me that chose it. However, on a conscious level, on a human level, I never wanted to be a shaman. I actually did everything I could to not be a shaman. When I was chosen at age 5 from my family, and told that I have specific gifts from the ancestors in my family's tribe and Yoruban culture, I didn't quite understand what those things were, because I thought that it was very normal to see spirits and hear things talking to you, and see energy, and see numbers and codes and frequencies and spells and all kinds of things happening all the time. I didn't anticipate the awakening that happened to me when I was in elementary school, when I realized that my peers did not have that ability. So I thought it was a very natural thing to be able to see those things. I thought it was natural to see when someone was casting a spell on themselves or on someone else, or it was very natural for spirits to come and go out of places and see portals and all these different things that I'm exposed to all the time. I didn't realize it until I started realizing my friends were not accessing a certain level of their abilities. And I started noticing it in school, in elementary school, when I was a young kid, when I watched how my friends processed information and what they allow themselves to see versus what they don't allow themselves to see. It was almost like there was this blind like almost, you know, when people talk about a firewall, it was like a firewall was put in place. That's the best way I can explain it, in their consciousness. And I wanted to understand why, you know, and from what my elders' point of view was, is that the world had programmed their family generation to keep up that firewall for their protection. But in fact, I always found it fascinating because I'm like, how are they really protecting themselves when they're not accessing all this amazing information that's available through the spirit world and the mental planes and the emotional planes and the physical plane, that are integrative awarenesses that are constantly communicating intelligence and knowledge to us? And how is it that they're put a firewall, and why won't they go past that firewall? And then I realized human beings love rules, and these are another firewall. So for me, being able to really step into that space of alignment with myself is realizing that I'm in a world where human beings create rules, and they create rules with identity. And it's a very scary thing, really, because it doesn't allow human beings to be their real self. They only activate their projected self. So when I meet people, I'm not really meeting them. I'm meeting the projected self that they are demonstrating to me to be liked, to be loved, to be accepted, to be valued, to be seen, to be heard, and to matter. And so that self takes time to come undone. And so when people become friends with me, they realize that once they project that self at me, it can only stay up so long, because I was trained in my training to go beyond that with myself as well, making sure I don't project anything that is not who I truly am, and also with other people, and not creating rules. Like, I would not create rules in my life, because rules are created to limit and subjugate the consciousness from its expression through its emotions, through its body, through its mind, and through its spirit, right? So a lot of times when I watch human beings, I watch the limitations they place on themselves. And my role in this life is to help people to release those limitations, and also dive into those limitations by creating them myself, to see what is the energy that pulls them into those limitations, and then what is the mindset that keeps them there. So a shaman's role is to live in two parts. We live in one part where we're aware of all of these things through our training, and the more we train as kids, the more we develop. And then we never know what kind of shaman we're going to be, because there's different types of shamans. And then there's the human side, which is to make sure that we are not putting ourselves above the people, that we are with the people, so that we're able to dive into things that humans go into, and be a part of that as well. So we create limitation. We'll create these things on purpose, and sometimes unconsciously, right, to be able to pull ourselves from it. Like they say, like in a lot of Indian culture, that the shaman will drink the poison and turn it into medicine, right? It's the road of being a shaman isn't just like dancing around and handing out ayahuasca, or doing iboga, or doing drum ceremonies, or any of these things. It's literally taking up the helm of where humans don't want to look at. The things that we don't want to see or acknowledge because it's too painful, or it's disgusting and vile, or it's dark and sinister, or any of these things. And we dive right into it so that we can understand it, and then alchemize it into knowledge, into seeds of wisdom, and then share that with community. Now, that I'm a spirit shaman, so my dive will always be into the very dark, dark, dark places of humanity, because my job is to understand all forms of spirit and how they communicate, how we communicate, and also how they integrate within our lives. But then earth shamans are there to provide medicines, to learn about the plants, which plants are poison, which plants aren't. They do a lot of dietas. They do a lot of connection with the earth spirits. And then fire shamans are there to understand the salamander spirits' way of interacting with life, and the way that the fire spirits, which is the salamander and jinn spirits, operate with humanity. And so they do a lot of like sweating ceremonies like Temazcal, fire ceremonies, this type of thing, sun ceremonies as well. And then, of course, there is the air shamans, and those shamans are the ones who bring the sounds, the vibrations, the music, the sound, the guttural sounds, the chanting, the tongues, the what people call light language. They're the ones who bring the unspoken word into life that has code, magic, and frequency in it. And then the water shamans are the ones you see like in Indonesia and Hawaii, and different ones where they submerge you in water, or they dump water over you, or they pray into water and have you drink it, or they put water around you in bowls to pull poisons out of your body. So, and I know a lot of those other techniques, but my strongest one is being a spirit shaman. And so being able to take that awareness and seeing it in humanity and realizing that everyone has the capacity for this level of magic, this level of attunement to awareness that goes beyond the five senses. However, the distractions, the need for projection, the need to protect oneself, the need to put up labels on oneself, the need to create rules, limits and constricts humanity.
This is, and I love that you bring the importance of the five elements together, right? Like the importance of bringing, them, because it allows us to alchemize the importance that we all have these gifts, and navigating the awareness within ourselves can then help us see it deeper outside of us. And I'm curious to know, was it for you as you developed this these abilities to see energy, and how you're able to identify with people around you and feel within yourself? What was that like within your body? Was it like you could see it and you could feel it as well, or could you feel it first and then it showed up? What was the resonance in it all? And the reason I'm asking this is because for anybody that's listening, this internal external world that we oftentimes forget about, it's like we think that it's projections, and this is what beautifully is being referred to, instead of being projected on. I'm just curious to know, knowing of the spirit that you have inside of you and the power within you, how was that kind of that element of feeling understood by you, or how were you communicated that?
Well, when I was a little boy in my crib, I could see spirits. But as I got a little bit older, I think it was like 8 or 7, I stopped wanting to see the spirits, even though I still saw them at times, but it was a different type of spirit that I would see. And then I realized I could feel them still. And so what I would do in my training as a kid was practice feeling them and then removing my judgment of how they would look, and not being manipulated by television or, things that people say, oh, demons and this and that and the other, because all of those things are manipulated data. And any manipulated data that doesn't allow spirit to show up the way it wants to show up without me projecting an image onto it so that I can be right and I can be justified in what I want to believe, is the first key of awakening your senses to, which is in the invisible planes. And I think that a lot of people, had these experiences when they were kids. Like they felt like when their leg was off the bed, they thought something was going to pull it, or, they saw something in their closet, or the boogeyman, or something was, walking behind them and whispered them. But what most human beings do in those cases is they go straight to something dark, or they go straight to evil. Like they immediately assume that if something calls their name, it must be evil because the hair rises up on the back of their neck. Instead of realizing the hair is rising up on the back of your neck because you are sensing, and your sensing abilities are awakening. Your physical presence is being aware that there is something near you. And so when we have these experiences, majority of humanity, goes into fear. Children go into fear. I'm scared of the dark. I'm scared of what's in my closet. I'm scared, scared, scared. And because the parents don't have the training to help their kid understand that just because they feel something, it doesn't mean it's evil or dark, and that the darkness can be your friend, you know? It's like, hello, darkness, my old friend. You know, it's like darkness has a beautiful resonant tone for amplification, right? That's why when you look in the sky at night, you see stars, because the night amplifies light, right? And so if you are a person who understands the darkness, you know that the darkness isn't filled with dark, dark beings. It is actually a place to amplify energy, and you can use the darkness as a way to amplify. So I was the kid who would go talk to the thing in my closet, you know, and find out its name, its origin, where it's from, why it's there. If there was something under my bed, I would ask. You know, I would ask questions like, why was there someone sitting on the edge of my bed? And I would say, like, why are you there? And why are you sitting there? And what do you want from me? And where do you come from? And what's your name? And tell me your story. Like, what's up with you? Right. And that's how I was always as a kid. Instead of like, at first, it was intense because all of the movies you see, like Freddy Krueger and all these different things, and people would just associate these ideas into projecting them onto the spirits. And then when I actually decided to stop judging and letting go, which came through my training with my family, I was able to step into a relationship with spirit in a way that gave me the ability to know things that other people did not know. And that strengthened my power. It strengthened my ability to access fields of awareness, be able to listen to people's thoughts, to hear deeper wisdoms that are around us in the trees and in the flowers, in nature that always speaks, and have a different relationship with animals and the way the earth is communicating. And that's when I started asking spirit, like, you know, like, why, what is the purpose of us peeing? And then the earth told me, because I need you to pee so that I can understand what's going on with all of you, because it reads, water is an absorber, and it absorbs frequency and intelligence, and then gives it back to Gaia. And then Gaia knows what to create as far as food, as far as plants, as far as like how animals are going to adapt and so forth. But there's so much to the ecological system and the biological system that is so intricate and so beautifully organized and designed, and how it communicates back to nature, that humans miss out on that because of those firewalls. And so I dedicated my life, you know, I only decided to become a shaman because I was against it for so long, because I just wanted to do other things in life, you know, and I did those things. Like I wanted to model, and I wanted to do acting, and I wanted to dance, and so I went to school with Alvin Ailey and danced. I got it picked up by modeling, and did shows for, like, you know, all these big fashion designers and stuff. And I did movies and stuff, and it wasn't fulfilling. It didn't fulfill me because my soul was imprinted with being the shaman. So I eventually had to go back and complete my training with my family. But what it was interesting is that they gave me that walkabout, and it gave me an opportunity to realize that my life is not accepted by me, meaning that I thought that I was in control of my life. And that was a lesson for me to learn. And it was actually that I set up, either before I came to Earth, or it's already set up by source or God, that I have a specific reason of me, meaning that it's not that I have a mission or I have some purpose. It's not a purpose or a mission, because that can enslave you as well. It is the idea that I exist and I have the ability to serve humanity, to bring down those firewalls. And so if I choose to do it, it's my choice. If I don't choose to do it, it's my choice. But that is the making of my code. And so I can either answer that code or go against that code. And if I go against that code, I suffer because my codes are not in sync with those other things. But if I stay in alignment with my code, then I'm able to produce, create, illuminate, and also perceive and be aware of how I can best expand that code and communicate that code to other people's codes so that we can create this beautiful collective, this beautiful surge of community. And so that's how I look at myself and I look at life, and I don't see hierarchy, but I see this interconnectedness of code, reading code, and then us being able to create new codes from those codes. But first we have to come together in a community to do so.
And you know, I always say community is common unity, and it's so beautiful to hear always community popping up. It's especially amongst like us wanting to really bring our spirit to life and express it in wholeheartedness. It doesn't matter where, and address those firewalls that are showing up around the world. And so I'm curious to know further and deeper as you do the work of, you know, really challenging the rules, because you challenge also some of your own, and you challenge the societal construct, these rules or these firewalls that are being projected onto a lot of the world. And just so that I'm clear, I'm hearing you say also is that when you're getting to know yourself, the darkness within yourself, you can then make sure that you're challenging other people and their firewalls, right? That they have been kind of created or created upon themselves, and walk into that level of challenge with alignment, because you're absolutely certain with what you can bring to the table, you or anybody else, but you specifically in your nature and what you do and how you show up. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, it's not for me to take down the firewall. It's for them to take down the firewall. Sorry. I'm just here to point out the intricate design of the firewall and help people understand that that design has no power to suppress them or to put them into submission, to limit them into lack, scarcity, or fear, to maintain those, how do you say, those discords that humans create, that we create as human beings on Earth because of our inability to address those firewalls. And you know, for me, I know who I am. I know why I'm here. But I'm not here to be the person who's going to save the world. I know that. I'm not here to be anyone's guru. I'm not that. I'm here to share and to love and to laugh and to observe and to experience and to gather information from others and to learn from others, from their information, and to have pleasure and to enjoy, you know, all of these amazing experiences without limitation. I'm not here to cast walls and needs to label myself to fit into some comfortable place that society says you'll be comfortable in if you address this limit label on yourself. That is the reason why I'm soul sexual. I don't adhere to any form of construct that humans have created for the sake of being righteous, for the sake of being superior. My purpose in myself is to be the greatest hypocrite that ever lived. So that way I can reach higher states of consciousness of the human third finite mind, because the finite mind operates in different constructs. And those constructs start from childhood, parenting, schooling, peers, people. And then it goes to not wanting to disappoint, not wanting to make people not like you, wanting to be acknowledged, wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to have value. And then it goes into, I have a mission, I'm here to do this, I have to have purpose in order to matter. And all of that's bullshit. And so literally what it does is it creates a robotic human being that operates on a conveyor belt that the matrix itself enjoys, because it supports a system that is failing but keeps the system going long enough to redesign new constructs to enslave people. And I've been watching this for a very long time, very long, so long, beyond this body, very long. And I know that my makeup is arbitrary to that construct, is not, I am an anomaly to the construct. I am a disruptor. I am a person who's come to create a glitch in the system just by my mere presence. And I think that it's challenging for some people to understand that level, because they don't like me pushing their buttons, but they don't realize that if I'm in your life pushing your buttons, it's because you've called me into your life to push your buttons. And I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to ruffle people's feathers. If friends come out of that, great. Then that means we are also the same on that path of awareness for ourselves, which is to not be bound by the matrix and to be, as my friends call me, Morpheus, because my dream for humanity is complete, total liberation. And to me, that is where, I don't care how you choose to get there, but that is, to me, the ultimate that I would like to see the actualization of our species get to. And I know that it will take some time, because there is a lot of firewalls that humans keep creating based on the need to get love and be accepted in society, that the firewall itself is in place to keep them safe from judgment, ridicule, discrimination, hate, you name it. And I honestly don't really care, because at this point in my junction of life, my role is not to baby or to stroke people to make them feel comfortable in their prisons.
Yeah. This is this prison part, and so many, I can say from my own experience, as I've gone through the journey of life, there's been so many prisons that, these boxes that we need to break through, like constantly break through. And at least for myself, that's how I was allowing myself to exponentially, because I would challenge all these firewalls, these rules, because I didn't appreciate being limited in any way. So it gave me the opportunity. And today I read something: be so free that your living, your existence is a form of rebellion. Mm-hmm. And I think that this brings a lot to life. Like, you're really reminding me of this essence today. And I am curious deeper to know, as you go through this journey and as you ruffle these feathers and as you disrupt, in different, levels of awareness, what is the paradigm or the context that you bring to people? Because I know that something that I resonate really dearly with is when you say, be your own damn guru. And that's the level of empowerment, because we all have this spirit. So when you're challenging, and you mentioned earlier, like, for the people, speaking, on behalf, and like really being willing to navigate in these different levels of awareness, what is the approach? Is there a lot of sensitivity? Is there, like, getting to know their darkness, like you talked about before, because that's how you can really identify with the light? Is it walking right into the darkness and, like, expressing yourself because that you can passionately bring that to the table? Or is there a merge of it all where you're really dancing between all of the sensitivities?
So I'm very sensitive to humanity and what humans are capable of. And, at the same time, I'm also not here to change you. So the way I look at life is, I'm not here to interfere until you ask me to. And that's how it was for me when I was a spirit, when people needed my support on the other side. When I was a spirit, it was only when people asked me, to interfere. So for me, I'm not here to change anyone. And I really enjoy that, because it allows me just to accept people for who they are and how they choose to show up. If you want to take off all your clothes and run around and say that you're a monkey and you come from planet Xeon, fine. I'll have fun and laugh with that, and we'll have a good old time. If you want to talk to me about something that you would never tell anyone, I'm the person to talk to, because I have no judgment. My role in life is not to make you feel criticized, judged, indifferent, held back, subjugated, and fear. My role in life is to give you space to explore and play and develop and create and feel and express. And so in that process, it's important for me not to involve myself so much in the need to fix or to change something, but more to hold a space for of love and energy and generosity and kindness and so forth, and even tough love, to give people a chance to be able to see themselves in their own power. And then if they need some support, I'm there for them. But I'm not here. I don't believe in codependency, and I don't believe in this hierarchy of nonsense that's been created since ancient times, where the slave consciousness was there for those who wanted to sit on top and be in power. And then they realized that slaves won't take that anymore. So what they did was design a system that you enslave yourself in your own thoughts, in your own emotions. And therefore, all they have to do is once in a while create what we call energy disruption for you that represents fear or worry or doubt or any of these things. And then you'll go right back into enslaving yourself. You'll beat up yourself. You'll call yourself names. You'll put yourself down. You'll limit yourself from happiness. You'll do all of these things, and you'll still support the system. And so for me, my role is to break the hierarchy by disrupting it and making it uncomfortable until it breaks itself. And to do that, I have to sacrifice myself. So even like being a part, going into the royal family, for instance, and speaking at dinner tables with powerful people who are running the world and giving them a dose of reality from the perspective of living outside of the construct of power and outside of the construct of we have to manipulate people like this in order to get this from them, but more explaining to them and making them think. Even if it doesn't make them think, it's being said and they're hearing it and they're rebuttaling to it and they're getting angry about it. And even that anger is a part of the alchemy. It's a part of humans shifting, right? And if I have to be that person that people have to hate and be angry with and call names and say I'm crazy and I'm a clown and I'm a conspiracy theorist or whatever people call me these days, because there's a lot, I see it all over the press. The point is that that's the role I've come to play. And I'm playing it for the purpose of people to come out of the construct. And sometimes when people come out of the construct, they can either come out in a very graceful way, or they can come out in a very painful, angry, disruptive, vile way. And that's basically according to them, how they choose to organize that for themselves. But all I am here to do is take the red, like the bull to the red, I'm holding the red cloak and getting them to charge at me with the red cloak, so they can see that they're even charging and why they're charging and why are they moving in this direction. And so through that interaction of life, I'm able to help people develop their powers, their gifts, their abilities, and the profound nature that lives within them to access all fields of what we call excellent communication and integration of intelligence, which gives like people, when I work with CEOs and Fortune 500 company people, it gives them an extra superpower. It's like an awareness that they didn't know they had. And so if they choose that awareness to be destructive, that's their choice. And if they choose that awareness to be loving, that's their choice. I'm just here to give blankets and soup to people when they're done fighting each other.
Yeah, I think that there's a blend there. Like when you're able to be at these royal dinners and you challenge these powerful people and you're able to bring their like awareness to a new essence, right? I believe that you're not sacrificing. I see like a magical centered man knowing what his purpose is or knowing what his soul needs to bring to the table and willing to bring it with absolute truth and integrity. And so I see this magical experience of the way that you're able to navigate and communicate so effectively that breaks a pattern and everybody feels it. You know, and I think that's fucking empowering, bro. I'm sorry, but I think
I
that's
know
like,
it is empowering, but it is a sacrifice. Every human being that chooses to go against the matrix will be a sacrifice on this planet. It has been shown through all of our leaders, all of our world leaders, all of our mystics, all of our powerful people who brought forth so much intelligence and information. There is a sacrifice that one must adhere. And that's why human beings are scared. That's why they stay in their boxes and their labels and their firewalls, because they're scared of that. They're scared to have people not like them. They're scared to have people ridicule them. They're scared to have people tell them that they're not good enough. They're scared to have people call them names. They're scared. And when you take a path in life where you have come to stand up against the matrix and you've come to represent that space for others to see that it's possible, you have to be okay with those things. Yep. And that's a constant awakening. You know, there are days where I get, like, we just arrested someone recently who was planning my death, who was trying to put a death threat on me. I get death threats all the time. People who are plotting my death, people who intrinsically would wish they could come face to face with me so they could kill me, because that's how much they're scared of change. That's how much they're been held within the constructs that they've built their identity around. And here comes this man who is ripping apart just by his presence.
Yeah.
Right? That's scary for a lot of people. So when you step into that space, and I say this to all my friends who are like healers and people who are out there who want to really create change in the world, you have to be ready for that onslaught of that energy. And it's a lot. When you feel it coming from different countries and all the time you wake up, you can feel that energy being beamed at you. And you have to learn how to bring your power and your energy and your mind and your emotions and your body to a place where you can push that energy away and continue to stay in that alignment. And that takes a strong will. That's not a will where it's like, oh, I got hurt and I'm give up. That's a will of no matter what you do to me. It's like my friend said, because I have my roots, or my mom comes from Norway, and we have the Viking and we have Odin, and it's the energy where I'm getting struck by lightning. Everything is attacking me. And I'm holding myself like a warrior in front of the skies of Odin and saying, is that all you got? And that is the energy you have to live with every single day if you choose to be an active disruptor on this planet. And if you can choose that every day and know that there will be scars, there will be attacks, there will be things that you will go, oh my God, how can I go through this? But you keep going. And it's that resilience and that marker of resilience that makes it where it's that scene in The Matrix where Neo at one of the last films, where Smitty has made himself everybody and he's beating Neo and beating him down and beating him down and beating him down. And then he says to himself, I can understand why you keep getting up. Is it like, what is it? Is it love? Is it this? Like he's trying to understand human resilience. And it's that part that just doesn't matter how many times you hit me down, I'm going to keep standing up. No matter how many times you put pain on this body, I'm going to keep standing up. No matter how many times you call me names and spit in my face, whatever you do, I'm going to keep standing up until I have my last breath. And that will be the legacy I leave behind for others to know that unless you want this system to change, you're going to have to become resilient as fuck. And you're going to have to change the way you look at life and not look at life from this hippy dippy love and light fairy tale, which is nice and it feels good and it's cozy and it's fuzzy and it's warm and it's great. But you're going to have a little bit more than that. You're going to have a little gumption. You're going to have energy where if 1,000 million people got in your face today and told you that you're a failure, an idiot, you're stupid, you're dumb, and you'll never amount to anything, you're still going to get up and you're still going to put your energy into it. That's what it takes. And that's where I differ with other shamans, because I have a lot of shaman friends and they can't understand how I'm able to stand in the face of society and do that, because a lot of shamans like to hide. A lot of shamans have lost that resilience. And it makes me sad, because when I meet shamans who come from Peru and different places, they can't handle what I go through. So they hide out in their respectable place, which is fine. And they serve where they best can serve. But I was chosen to be born in the modern day world and to deal with the construct that was built for the matrix to magnify the system to make people slaves. And that was put into motion way back in Egypt. And so I'm here to bring a different type of energy, kind of like, what would you say, like a reactor, an energy reactor. And so when people come around me, they're like, how come I feel so powerful? How come things are working out for me? How come I feel strong when I'm around you, Shaman Durek? That's because my light is the light of resilience and power and strength. And it is the ability to crash down hypocrisy and lies and everything, no matter what it takes. And that is what I live for. And that is what I will die for. And that is that. And when you're ready to step into that level of alignment, you have to let go of this American dream, or a dream that people have of living this life where everything is perfect and whatever, because the moment you make that decision, it will not be perfect. It will be muddy. It will be yucky. It will be beautiful sometimes and sexy other times and disgusting other times. And if you can move through all of that, then you got the stuff. And that's what I say.
I love it, bro. Like, so much truth, so much magic, so much centered alignment and absolute peace in the way that you bring it to the forefront, you know, man. I really admire this. And I think that there's so many people that they know, but they don't express. They know, but they don't step into the embodiment. They know cognitively, they may even know emotionally, but the physical lack of embodiment, you know, they can talk about it, they could teach it, but they can't be it. And this, I think, is a whole different paradigm, a whole different step of influence. It's not about being an influencer. It's about really knowing who you are at a deep level, this space of truth, of honesty, of alignment. Bro, honestly, I'm so excited. Like, I'm excited for this relationship, this friendship that has like grown, because this is like, it's fun, it's exciting to know that there's so much I see, you know, and I'm excited to spend more time together. But I know we don't have much time left, so I want to really be respectful of your time and ask, like, if anybody wants to know more about the magic that you're bringing to life and know more about how they can work and find out more about you. Is there something that, you know, they can go find out? I know that you have an amazing book, but guide us through some of the shaman school and things like that you're delivering already.
So if they want to upgrade their abilities and work through things and get it done and you know, be done with that kind of stuff, they can have private sessions with me. We have the shaman school where they can take some different courses, and they're not courses like let's balance your chakra courses. There are courses on building your power. And then we have a 30 days strong free course at my website, 30 days strong, which is all about every day a new shamanic technique. They can also go check out my podcast. They can read my book, get my oracle cards. You know, the optimizer, which is changing people's lives. This thing, it's next level, which is teaching people.
Tell me about the optimizer a little bit. Do you mind telling a little bit about the optimizer?
Yeah, so the optimizer is an invention that my friend Evan and I came up with, that Spirit told us to create. And what it is, it's all made from, on the outside, it's, you have an epoxy, but it's, inside it's all nature. So it has like kunzite and different crystals and different copper wiring and stones that are compressed to create an energetic connection that creates conscious interference. So basically, if you hold the optimizer and say, optimizer, increase my power, it does it like that. You say, optimizer, show me what path I should take in life. It shows you. Optimizer, like it basically accesses the subtle frequencies of energy in your being and amplifies it so you're fully conscious of it. So what happens is, when people have a hard time focusing, they use the optimizer, and then it cuts everything. It cuts all the energy fields that are distracting you and pulls you right into center. Say, for instance, you want to be grounded. It moves all energies that are limiting and brings you right down to being grounded. Say, for instance, you want to start building your psychic powers. It opens up your psychic energy. It makes you more aware of your environment and the spirit world. So it does so many different things, and each optimizer has a specific skill that it does the most in. And we've been getting letters from all over the world, from kids, from adults, from executives, from Wall Street execs, from all kinds of people who've been using the optimizer to see how they access their power. And what it does is, once it opens up your power in your body, it's open, it doesn't close. So it actually is amplifying your powers, and it becomes this powerful tool to keep expressing back to you where you're locking in your powers. So it's really quite cool, to be honest.
I love it. I'm gonna have to get one for sure. I'm 100%.
Yeah, I'll show you how to use it. You'll love it.
Yeah. So everything can be found on your website. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Cool.
Yep,
Shaman Durek.
Follow me on TikTok or Instagram. Cool. Clubhouse.
Hey,
yeah.
I'll make sure that I have all the links in the show notes for anybody listening back. And last question before we wrap up here, brother. And I asked this for everybody, so I'm really curious to know, you know, the pattern here, or what's going to show up. If you had 3 days left to live, what would you do?
If I had 3 days left to live, what would I do? I would spend time with my kids, my fiance, her family, my friends. I'd have an amazing party with DJs, dancing, eating the best food. I would write a letter to the world, my final words, and I would go stay in nature and say goodbye.
Amazing. Thank you, my dear friend, for spending the time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your brilliance. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your energy. I'm very grateful to, you know, always receive such beautiful information, but also with such intention and grace, is really a gift. So I just want to thank you for being, bro.
The pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for listening to The Resilient Minds. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please make sure to go comment and like and follow us on iTunes or Spotify, and make sure, please make sure that if you really love this, to share this episode, and make sure that you're inviting all your friends to like it as we continue to unfold what the beauty of our minds does. More importantly, how powerful our heart level of intelligence can be when we combine our heart and our brain together. And more importantly, check out the alignment course that I've created. It's seriously there for you to take advantage of at www.ericbalance.com/alignment. See you on the next show.